I work at a bakery, and it's not often that we get creepy people as customers. But the other day I was working at the register and an older man walks in. I always say, "Hi, welcome in. How are you?" And he didn't look at me or acknowledge what I said. He immediately pointed to a cookie and asked what flavor it was, to which I said the name of it. Then he asked what all was in it. I started listing out what's in it and he cut me off and said, "Stop," all frustrated like. Then he finally looks at me and leans his face over the counter till he was about a foot away from my face and he says, "Wow, you are a really pretty girl. You're so attractive, you know that, right?" I just said, "Thanks," in monotone and looked down at the ordering screen because I felt very uncomfortable. And it gets worse. He then continues to say, "You must get that a lot, don't you? That you're so beautiful." And I said, "No, not really." And he says, "Oh, well, you're such a beautiful girl. How old are you anyway? 14? 15? Surely you're 15, eh?" That's when my gut was telling me something is wrong with this dude. And I look up at him and say coldly, "No, I'm an adult." And he gets all antsy with his body language and says, "But what age?" And I said, "An adult." Because I didn't trust him knowing my age. He already could see my name from the tags we wear on our hats, and that already made me feel nervous that he knows that piece of info about me plus where I work. He then shook his head like he was disappointed and said, "Okay, well, you're just really attractive. I hope you know that." And I said, "Okay." And then he ordered really quickly and left. The poet saved his full name from his credit card after he placed his order, and my coworker and I looked up his name and the town we're located in on a registered website, and turns out he has a criminal record on it, which then made me feel sick to my stomach about the whole interaction he was trying to have with me. I was laying in my room when I decided it'd be fun to have some friends over. I ordered a pizza and invited Marcus, James, AJ, and David over. 15 minutes later, ding dong, I sprinted downstairs. Finally, pizza arrived. Then I saw my friends' cars pull up. Everyone walked in, I greeted them all. I led them to my room. We all sat down and discussed what we should do while eating our pizza, of course. James suggested we could use my airsoft guns and go play in the forest, which sounded fun at the time. Everyone agreed, and we grabbed the airsoft guns and headed out into the forest behind my house. I didn't know that was the worst thing we could have done. Once we ventured deep enough that we thought it was perfect, we picked our teams and began. BBs were flying past each other, us trying not to get nailed in the face. Then a loud thud, and then fast and loud footsteps. I put my hand in the air and told everyone to stop. We all gathered around. "Did you guys hear that sound?" Then the loud footsteps. I inquired. "Yeah, but I thought it was you guys trying to scare us." James replied. Then the thud, even closer now. I looked around until I fucking saw it. A 7-foot silhouette of some sort of animal walking on its hind legs. "What the fuck is that?" I yelled. They all looked at me like I was crazy. "There's nothing there, dash." Then the thud again. And this time, everyone saw the creature's silhouette. "Go back to the house," Marcus said. "Go back to the house." Marcus rose his voice this time. We all began running. We all ran for about a quarter mile, till we got to the house. We scrambled around the house, locking all doors and windows, and we closed all of the blinds. Then the muffled thud. We all turned to look out the back door. We all had a look of horror as the thing chasing us edged the tree line, and we saw its body. Tight skin, as if it skinned another animal and tried to fit inside it, but it was too small. Torn, rotting skin, a face that looked like a deer, but blood-stained. We all watched it like a hawk. Then, simultaneously, all our phones vibrated, and the screeching and chirping sounds of an Amber Alert went off. It was described the exact creature we were watching. We called the police. 3 minutes later, the police entered the house and we told them it was by the trees. They searched the area, but it was gone. Sometimes I wonder if it's still there, watching me and following me. I never entered that forest again, and my family moved shortly after. My girlfriend had an experience. I'm convinced my girlfriend had an attachment or something paranormal. She said when she was young she was up around 3 a.m. making ramen in her kitchen and saw a face in the window, and not just a reflection but a man's face with a big grin and a hat. She said she saw the same face months later when she was in her parents' car in her driveway waiting for her mom to go out. This experience terrified her. She doesn't like to talk about it, and I don't blame her. She also doesn't watch any paranormal shows with me and asks me to turn them off. She believed her woods were haunted or something behind her house, saying her and her friends were playing hide and seek one night, and she was seeking with her friend, and they heard giggling that sounded like her sister in the woods and followed it, and footsteps they heard in the woods until they got spooked and left. They found her sister inside the house in their basement. She was freaked out by this. She also was driving home one night alone and heard what she thought was an animal in her back seat growling. She drove home as fast as she could and went inside and told her dad, who quickly went to check the car to find no animals in the car. One night me and her got into an argument and my dog started growling at the corner of the room. I told her she could have had some sort of attachment or just something trying to get to her. She isn't religious, but I felt like praying with her and asking for protection. I grew up going to church and believe there is evil out there. I'm no priest, but she said she felt a lot better after the prayer. Later that night, I had a very lucid dream seeing a dark figure wearing a hat across our street facing away as if it were leaving. I woke up immediately and prayed again. I know it could have just been because it was fresh in my mind, but still found her experience very creepy and spooky.